then we will do the funnel, third we will do the combo, and then the fourth we'll do is the map. Okay, so combo chart is a very important chart. I will explain that shortly. So what exactly is a waterfall chart and why do we use it? A waterfall chart is a variant of a column chart. Now, if you have worked with a column chart, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, a column chart is also known as an Excel bridge chart. Now, waterfall charts show a running total as values are added or subtracted. So the first gray bar that you see, that is the starting total. And then you'll have positive and negative values. Here the positive values are in blue, the negative values are in orange. And this is the final total. So just by looking at this chart, I know if, let's say, this is your bank statement, your own bank statement. So if this was your, let's say, opening balance, and the blue ones were your credits and the orange is your debits, after all the debits and credit, your final closing balance is higher than the opening balance. So this clearly tells us that. So waterfall charts, like I said, it shows a running total as values are added or subtracted. This chart helps us understand how the starting position either increases or decreases through changes by series of positive or negative values, just like in a bank statement of credit and debit. Okay. This chart is a very powerful tool for visualizing changes in data over a time and is often used for analyzing, like I said, financial statements. You can track important values such as net profit over time. You can also use them to track important values like sales, targets, etc. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's go to Excel. Go to the first sheet. I hope everybody has downloaded this file. Yeah, if you're not downloaded it, please download it and then we can start. So here we have the Nintendo sales for the first 15 days of March. Okay, so let's say the Nintendo manager told the executive, today we are sitting on the 28th before we do the monthly analysis. Please tell me how did we do in the first 15 days of this month. So in column A, I've got some dates. In column B, I've got the description. Okay, where was the money spent? Okay, and here, what was the amount that was spent? Okay, so let's say the management wants to know how the company has progressed in the first 15 days. Before we go ahead and we create a waterfall chart, let's understand this data. So on the 1st of March, the opening balance was 3 lakh rupees. Okay. Let's say this is the money that Nintendo has at the beginning of the month. Obviously, these numbers are fictitious, but this will help us understand how the waterfall chart works. So here the balance was 3 lakh rupees. On the 1st, Nintendo spent 50,000 on advertisement, and hence you see a minus 50. So out of 3 lakh, 50 was spent. So balance is 2 lakh 50,000. Yeah, simple mathematics. Okay. Because of this advertisement, what happened was for the next 2 days, the company got some sales. So the first day, on the second, company got a sale of 20,000. On the third, the company got a sale of 20,971. And company said, hey, that's amazing. Advertisement gets more sales. Let's do one more advertisement. So they spent 25,000. Because of this advertisement, they again got sales for 3 days. So the company decided to do more advertisement. So similarly, in the first 15 days, this data has the amount spent on advertisement and the amount accrued on sales. Finally, on the 15th of March, the closing balance was 7,32,823. So they started off with 3 lakhs and they ended up on 7,32,823 after all this debits and credits. Okay. Now, if you notice, there are a few negatives and few positives. So let's go ahead and let's plot these values on a waterfall chart. Now, before we begin, guys, waterfall chart was introduced in Excel 2016 onwards. So if you are using an Excel version which is before 2016, then you cannot use the insert tab from here to insert the waterfall chart. You'll have to create the chart from scratch. So what I'm going to do is, I'm assuming a lot of people don't have even Excel 2016. So I'm going to show you the first way to create the chart manually. And to do that, we have to prepare the data and then create the waterfall chart. And then I'll show you the easiest way to create the waterfall chart if you have Excel 2016 onwards from the insert menu. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's create the waterfall chart manually. Now, if you remember in the last session, I showed you how to create a histogram from a stacked column chart from scratch. You remember we created a stacked column and then we removed the colors from the base bars. The same approach, we will do it here with the waterfall chart. So if you remember, if you go back to the PowerPoint slide, one moment. If you look at this closely, you'll suddenly realize this is a stacked column where the below bars are. Yeah, so we are going to use a stacked column, right? So let's go ahead and let's create a basic data for that. Okay, so let's do it here. I am going to, let's say this is a serial number, running total. I'm going to say bottom value and top value. Do this with me, guys. It'll be easier for you to do that. Create these 4 cells. Once you're done, okay, zoom in, fair enough. Let's go ahead and let's zoom in. So in E3, F3, G3, and H3. Type these 4 values: serial number, running total, bottom, and top. Okay. Now, first of all, we will populate the bottom value. So type equal to if C4, which is this value, is less than equal to 0, then give me the absolute value of C4. Otherwise, give me 0. I'm going to copy this formula and I'm going to paste it here. So this, oh, the formula didn't paste, seems like. Let me see if I can paste it again. No, there's some reason the chat is cutting off that. So let me type that formula here so you can see it, and I'll do it like text. So I'm going to zoom very high. So this is the formula. If C4 is less than equal to 0, then comma, abs, start bracket, C4, close bracket, comma, 0, and the bracket. I hope everybody has got that. Okay, let's go back. Right, so this is the formula which goes in G4. In H4, the formula that we type is equal to if start bracket C4 less than equal to 0, comma, and 0, else C4. What I will also do, guys, for you is you already have the link to this Excel file. So I'm not going to delete these cells. I'll save this file. So the link that you have will automatically get updated. So you can re-download the file at the end of the session and you can see the formulas then. Okay, so this is there. And then finally in F5, I will type equal to F4 minus G5, which is here, plus H4. I will explain what am I doing here. Close this and you press the enter key, sorry. F4 minus G5 plus H4, perfect. This is done. Okay, and now simply drag it down till here, in fact, not here. And then drag this down till here. And this also drag it down. Make this 1, 2, or this would be your date actually. So I will copy this and I will paste this here. Right, so let me check what the running total is. F4, no, not F4, sorry. One moment. This has to be 25,000, right? So this is what it should be. Is equal to F4 minus G5 plus H4, which means I'm getting the running total. So 3 lakh minus 50,000 is 2,50,000, right? And then 20,000, one moment, what is this? There's something wrong. Did I not copy it properly? 50, 67, yeah, obviously, yeah. So we did not spend anything on this, so this is fine. On the 2nd of March, we made sales of 20,000. So 2,50,000 became 2,70,000. And then we again got 20,971. So the running total became 2,65,917. Similarly, the final running total is 732,823, which is mentioned here. Okay, so what am I doing here actually? What I'm doing here is I'm taking the absolute value. If it is a positive value, I'm putting it here. If it is a negative value, I'm putting the absolute value of that here. So if this is minus 50,000, I'm putting 50,000. This minus 25, then I'm putting 25,000 here. You understood what I'm doing, right? So positive values will come here. The negative values after converting to positive will come here. Now let's create a standard stacked column chart. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this and I'm going to click on insert column or stacked column. So this is the stacked column that we have created. Okay, now this blue bar that you see at the bottom, we will remove the color. How do we do that? We go to format, shape fill, no fill. Now you can see that the shape of the waterfall chart is starting to come. The date looks fine, but if you notice, there are 2 entries missing. If you select this, you'll see there are total 17 entries, but here there are only 15 entries. And do you know why that is happening? Because the values are getting overlapped because of 1st March here and for 15 March here. And how do I know that? So if I take my mouse cursor over the chart, you will see it, 30,000 overlapped. And here, this is 83,000 and below is 64,000. So it's overlapping. All the 17 entries here. How do we do that? We can do that by changing the start date and the end date. Okay, so what we are going to do is, this is the opening balance. So opening balance of, let's say today, is the closing balance for yesterday. So simply change this date to 28th of Feb. Okay, and change this to 16th of Feb. March, my apologies. Now you will get all 17 values. So 28th Feb, the total was there, but on 16th, now you'll see there's nothing there. Where is the bar of 16th? So if you click here, like this, you will see the bar of 16th. And since it was a stacked bar, the colors have gone. We will now change the color of the bars. So you decide now what should be the first bar total and what should be the second bar total colors. Okay, so how do I change that? Click on the first bar. The moment you click on the first bar, you'll see all these bars getting selected. Don't worry, click on the first bar again and only that bar will be selected. Okay, so now click on format, shape fill. Let's select the blue color. So that's my start. Similarly, go to the last bar and change the color like this. Okay, we have done that perfect. Now what we want is for the negative values, we want a red color. Okay, let's do that. And for the positive values, we want a green color. So we can do that as well. One moment. Okay, let it fill this. We will do it again. And then you click this again and fill it to blue. And your tree waterfall chart is now ready. But if I did not have, let's say, now, sorry, if I have Office 365, I don't need to do this. So I'm going to make this chart small and I'm going to keep this here because you guys will be downloading it. Okay, I'm going to change this back to automatic because that's looking very weird. And I'm going to reduce the font. Okay, and I save this. Perfect, this is done. Now, if I have to do this in Office 365, all that I have to do is select the data, go to the Insert tab, recommended charts, all charts, and select the waterfall and click on OK. And your waterfall chart is now ready. See, the same chart is now ready. You can obviously now customize this also. That's not a problem. I will not go into customization. You already know that. And for newbies who have just joined, please see the previous videos on how to customize this. And you can obviously change the axis from here. Currently, it is showing the description. If you don't want to do that, delete this chart, select only the date and the amount, and then click on Insert, All Charts, Waterfall, click on OK. And now it will show you the dates, which will look like the above chart that you have. Yeah, so if you remove this, it look exactly like this. Again, now one important thing when you're creating the waterfall chart using this method, you will notice that there is no bottom bar here. And why is that? So if you look at the legend, it says the blue is the increase, orange is the decrease, and the total is the gray. But I don't see any gray bars here. Why is that? That is because if you right click and click on format data series, not format data series, wait, click on the first column. Okay. Yeah. When you click on the first column, everything will be selected. Don't worry. Click on it again. So only the first column is selected. You will see something in the format data point pane, which is called set as total. Suppose this pane is not visible. Don't worry. Right click on that first bar and click on format data point. You'll get this, which is called set as total. Click on that. The moment you do that, you'll notice that the chart bar color has changed to gray. Repeat that process for the last bar as well. Format data point, set as total, magic. Now you've got the initial and the last bar. So if you're using an MS Office version, which is before Excel 2016, then you will not see the funnel chart in your Insert tab. You will have to use a stacked bar chart. So in the previous one, we used a stacked column chart. In this, we will use a stacked bar chart to create a funnel. Now, what do you understand by funnel? Funnel is like, if you remember, funnel looks something like this. I'm just going to quickly draw it. This is what looks like a funnel, guys. Yeah, so this is the funnel chart. This is what it will look like. Okay, so let's continue. I hope you're in this sheet now. Okay, now I'm going to stop giving Nintendo examples. Now let's take a more realistic example. Let's say there is a college which has 1,000 students. I'm sure you'll be able to relate with this example. Okay, now Trinity will take a very realistic example. Now let's say Trinity wants to promote some data analytics program to these students. So how does Trinity go ahead with this? Now, when I explain this example, you will understand how the funnel chart works. Okay, so first, what Trinity will do is it will advertise to these students. So there are, let's say, 1,000 students. Yeah, so it advertises to 1,000 students. Now, all 1,000 students obviously will not be interested in the class. Okay, so let's say 800 students were interested. So 800 students called back. They approached Trinity and they asked about the program. Okay, what is this data analytics program? It looks interesting. Okay. Once 1,800 people got in touch with Trinity, whether it was through phone, email, personal contact, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Out of that, only 300 were eligible. Yeah, because people who, whatever the eligibility criteria is, let's say Trinity fixed up some eligibility criteria and only 300 people were eligible. So Trinity said, okay, out of 1,000 students, we got an inquiry of 800, 300 were eligible. Let's give the proposal to them. Okay, so 300 people were given the proposal. And out of 300 people, only 120 people accepted the proposal. And when I said accepted, they showed their interest that yes, we are interested in this proposal. But any transaction, usually business transaction, ends with financial or money exchanging hands. Okay, so only 80 people made a payment. Rest of the people, 40 people, they said, okay, we are interested. Right now, I'm slightly busy with some other thing, or I'm going out on holiday. I don't have time, whatever. I will take the class in the future. Fair enough. So those 40 are not a part of that. So 80 people finally made the payment. So see how the values are being reduced. So what exactly is happening here? Besides Trinity making some kind of sales, what exactly is happening here? It shows how a particular process started. What was the initial state? Yeah. What were the different stages? And how the numbers filtered through it. And finally, what was the end? So a funnel chart is helpful in visualizing the progressive reduction of data as it passes from one stage to the other. Okay, so let's go ahead and prepare our data before we create a funnel chart. Okay. So let's say we type here, we call it invisible bar. Just like we had an invisible bar in stack column, we are going to create a section for the invisible bar for funnel. And here type, let's say students. Okay. Have we typed this guys? Okay, then copy this particular part from here and paste it here, and copy this part from here and paste it here. Okay, now one moment. Now you have to type a formula here. Now why am I going to, okay, let me first type the formula and then I'll explain. Is equal to max start bracket, max start bracket D11. Mouse is getting stuck. Okay, perfect. Press F4, so it's a constant. Close the bracket, minus D12. Close the bracket, divided by 2, and press the enter key. Okay, and bring it down. I'm going to save the file now. So in case you want to re-download it, you can. In D11 to D15, once I get the maximum value, guys, whoever is new, remember I've already covered these functions, right? And then I'm dividing by 2. We are doing this so that each bar centers itself. You will see this in action once I create a stacked bar chart. So I'm going to reduce this and I'm going to keep it here. Okay, and I'm going to create a stacked bar. So I'm going to select this. Okay, and let's create a stacked bar chart. So now if you look at this, see what is happening here, guys. Now you'll understand the formula. So here, the value is 100. Obviously, here it is 0. We don't want this particular value to be put here. So the first value is 1000. That's the bottom bar. The second value is, the first part is 100. So what it is doing is, it is finding the maximum of this value. Then it is reducing 800 from it, and then dividing it by 2. So 1000 minus 800 is 200, and then 200 divided by 2 is 100. So I'm trying to create a stacked bar chart so that these blue bars are created. This is the invisible bar. Okay. Once this is done, click on the base bar, the blue area, and repeat the process. No fill. Okay. We have got the funnel, but the funnel is in reverse. So how do we fix that? Right click on the vertical axis, click on format axis. Okay, categories in reverse order. Now this looks like a funnel, isn't it, guys? Okay, once this is done, then you need to change the gap width. Now the new people will again say, what the hell is this gap width? Where did this come from? Remember I spoke about gap width, where you can reduce the gap between the data series. So change it to 0, and your funnel looks much better. Let's format it. Let's select this design. Once you select this design, obviously it will color the cell back again, bars again, no worries. I don't want any fill. Okay, and I'll remove the grid lines. Okay, few things you'll notice, guys, that now when you apply different kind of styles, few things are reset, and you'll notice now this bar, even though I've removed the color, there's a slight shadow, and that is the catch. There is a shadow. So from where can we set that? Go to format, shape effects, shadow, no shadow, but obviously you'll have to click that first. Shape effects, shadow, no shadow, and that is gone. Again, right click, format data series, gap width 0. Right click on it, add data labels. Again, same formatting, home, increase the font, change the colors to black, and your funnel is now ready. I'm pressing Control S. Yeah, I'm removing the series, chart title, whatever you want to. I'm going to point it to this cell, and I'm going to type a sales funnel. I've got the sales funnel. So this is how you create a funnel chart in Excel 2013 and earlier. Fortunately, in Excel 2016 onwards, funnel is now a part of the native Excel charts. So let's go ahead and let's create a funnel chart directly from the data by clicking on the Insert tab. But this time I don't need this. I can directly select this range, click on Insert, Recommended Charts, All Charts, click on the funnel chart, and click on OK. And we get the funnel chart. Let me make this small. The work of this is done. And this is your chart. Obviously, you can format this chart just like we have done the formatting here. Okay, so I'm showing you the difficult way first, and then I'm showing you the easy way. So you know both ways. Tomorrow, if you are working with an MS Office version where you cannot you do not have access to the native chart, the funnel chart, then you can create it from scratch. You will not be limited. Yeah. Now let's move on to the next chart. You'll be using this chart a lot, guys. A lot means a lot, and it's called the combo chart. Okay, one moment. What a combination chart does, okay, it combines two or more different charts as a single chart to present and compare two different data sets that are related to each other. Now, if you remember, in a regular chart in Excel, it usually has one x-axis and one y-axis, correct? That's what we have seen till now in a normal Excel chart. And I'm not talking about 3D charts. I'm talking about 2D charts. You have x-axis, you have y-axis. Okay. In combination charts, you can have two y-axis and one x-axis. Now, why would I need two y-axis? That's a basic question that people will ask. Why do we need two y-axis? So when you want to plot two different data types or two different data set where the difference between them is way higher, then you use combo charts. Okay, let's take the case of sales and profitability example. Okay, before we do that, I can show it to you here. You see that this is the amount and this is percentage. If I start plotting all of them together, what is 100% in terms of number? If you remember, Excel stores percentages as numbers, date and times as numbers. So 100% is actually number 1. So as compared to 70,000, this is 1. So if I plot all of them together, you'll not see the percentage. I'll explain that to you in a moment. Okay, so let's go back. We'll go to the combo chart. Let me save this. So look at this data. Okay, here we have basic cost versus sales versus profitability. I'm going to zoom in. Let's say there's a particular item. This is the same table that we used in the previous session, but I have changed the values for a better understanding. So we have got few publishers. They had some basic cost, which can include expenditure, it could include whatever it is. And they made some sales. Finally, this is their profitability. Okay, profitability is in percentage, right? If I try to create, let's say, a 2D column chart. So I'm going to select this together and I'll click on insert and I insert a 2D column chart. There you go. What happened? The orange is the sales. Blue is the basic cost, gray is profitability, but we can't see profitability. We can't see profitability because 100% is number 1, which is right at the bottom here somewhere. You can't see it. And this is the reason why when we want to plot such kind of charts, we use combo chart. And how do we do that? So for the new people, you can right click on the chart and click on change chart type. Chart design tab, click on change chart type. Yeah. Once you click on that, select the last option, which is combo. Yeah. And the first two is fine, clustered column, clustered column. Profitability, let's change that to line with markers. Once that is done, you can see a preview of the chart here, but you can still see there is no line. And that is why it is still plotting the values on primary y-axis. You need to plot it on secondary y-axis. So click on this checkbox and click on OK. And suddenly you will see the line. So this line is towards the secondary axis and these bars are for the primary y-axis. Let's do one thing. What if I change the 7,900 to 2,500? So what happens? The profitability will change. Profitability will be sales minus this divided by this minus 50%. Correct? So now the profitability, so basic cost was 50, but the total sale was 2,500. So profitability is minus 50. If you remember in previous session, this is very, very important, guys. Listen carefully. In this axis, you see the 0 is here and you have negative values here. Here you have positive values. There are no negative values. Ideally, what I would want, is this line to go below the below the x-axis. Okay. Now, how do I do that? Because you remember that you could right click on this format axis and horizontal axis crosses axis value at 0. When you do that, it's still not crossing at 0. If I do this here as well, I select this, right click on it, format axis value crosses at 0. It's already there. But still, the axis is not crossing at 0. 0 is on top, below is minus 60%. This is 70 and 0 is here. So 1 0 is here and 1 0 on top. It's not crossing. Again, there's no difference. So what exactly is happening here? I doubt somebody knows this answer because very few people know this answer. And this is a part of statistics. So I'm going to share that with you. I will take a basic algebra example to explain that. Saksham, no, that's not the reason. I'll explain that. Because if you put a negative value for this basic cost, the ratio of the minimum and the maximum value on the left side has to be the same as the ratio of the minimum and maximum value on the right side. You understand what ratio is, right? When that ratio is equal, then 0 will cross. Right now, the ratio is not equal. And how do I know that? Let's check it. So let's type minimum, let's type maximum, and let's type ratio. Okay. For the minimum, I'll type equal to minimum. And since we are plotting basic cost and sales for the column axis, I'm going to select this entire range and I'll close the bracket. So minimum is 2,500. Similarly, I will check the maximum. I'll close the bracket. The maximum is 64,000. What is the minimum for the secondary axis? Is equal to minimum. And then I select this, I close the bracket, and maximum, I'll select this and I'll close the bracket. Perfect. So I've got the minimum values and maximum values on both axes. Now I want to, not ratio, sorry, ratio. Let's find the ratio. To find the ratio, you'll type equal to minimum divided by maximum. And you get 0.039. If I copy this formula and I paste it here, I get minus 0.5434. So the ratio between the minimum and maximum values on the left side is not equal to the minimum and maximum ratio on the right side. So how do we make it equal? Okay, once we make it equal, then you'll understand how this is happening. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this again and I'm going to paste it here, rather slightly down, and I'll call it new left axis. And this is new right axis. Okay, this is done. Let's change the minimum. Let's say if I change the minimum value to 100% and minimum minus 100% and the maximum value to 100%. Let's say that. So the ratio will be equal to this divided by this, which is minus 100%. Now I want to convert this to number. So right click on this, format cell, click on number and no decimal and click on OK. So it is minus 1. Understood? Fair enough. Now, what I have to do here is I want to find out what is the minimum value I can go up to. Maximum is, let's set it as, if you see here, what is the maximum value? 64,000. So we can, let's say, set a maximum value of 100,000. If this is 100,000 and if I want minus 1 ratio here, then how will I get this? I will get this by equal to this value multiplied by this ratio. Okay, so if my minimum is 100,000 and the maximum is 100,000, so if I delete this by this, I get a ratio of minus 1 and minus 1. So if my left axis is minimum is minus 100,000, maximum is 100,000, and this is minus 100 and maximum 100, then it will cross at 0. So let's test it. I'm going to right click on this axis, format axis. Minimum is minus 100,000. Okay, perfect. And this is 100,000. We've done that. Now let's go to the right axis. I'll move this chart slightly here. And let's change from minimum is minus 100% or minus 100% is minus 1. Maximum is 1. Right? Once you have done this, if you look at the chart, now it crosses at 0. Understood, guys? I'm going to save this so you can see how this works. Once again, guys, if you want the axis, primary axis and secondary axis to cross at 0, the ratio of the minimum value and the maximum value on the primary axis should be the same as the ratio of the maximum and minimum value and maximum value of the secondary axis. And this is how, this obviously, how this is algebra. You know how to use x, what is x, if y is this and x plus y, you know how to do that algebra. I don't have to tell you. So this is what I did here, right? What should be the minimum value? If the maximum value is this, and this is the ratio that I need to get here. For that, the minimum is maximum multiplied by the ratio of the other values, and you'll get this value. So obviously, when you divide this by this, you get this. Obviously, these two ratios are equal. And similarly, apply that here. This basic mathematics you need to know so that when you're creating this kind of chart, you can customize it. Okay. Now, you may say, I've got a lot of values below, blank space here. What do I do? Don't worry. What is the minimum value here? Minus 50%, right? So that means I can change this to minus 70. If I change this to minus 70, then the left axis will become minus 70. Okay, one moment. This is fine. Why is this? This is not right. This is equal to this divided by this minus, oh, sorry. There's no decimal. That's why it was showing as 1. So the moment I change this to minus 70, right, then the minimum value on the left side has to be minus 70,000. So if I go here, format axis, and if I change this to 0.7, minus 0.7, then you will notice that this value will go up, but it'll still cross at 0. Similarly, if you go to this and change this to minus 70,000, you will notice it still crosses that. Okay, let's check this. Okay, I'm going to change this to minus 70,000. Press the enter key. Come back here and change this to minus 0.7. Enter. See? Crossing at 0. So remember this, right? Here we have used a line chart and a column chart. If you wish, you can use other chart types as well. Go to change chart type. Here you can use an area if you wish. You decide. what you want to show. You can change any of these. You can make this a line. You can have different kind of combinations. So if you remember, this is what we created. You have a line, area, and a column. You have 2 columns, 1 area. This is a different variation of area, line, and a bar. So I want you to experiment with this and see what kind of different charts you can make. This is a very important chart. You'll have to make this a lot of times. If you know how to make the line chart, if you know how to make the area chart, if you know how to make the column chart, you can change all this. You can also see that these are the only options that are available for the combo charts. You can't use any other combinations. So remember that. Now let's move on to the last chart of the day. It's called a map chart. Okay, this map was introduced in Excel 2016 again. Only available if you have Excel 2016 with Office 365 subscription. Now there are a lot of times when your data is related to different geographical regions. You can of course use any of the charts that I have taken you through till today. But what if you could show a chart which looks something like, hold on, let me show this. Hold on, I'm going to change the column or a bar chart. But would you use that, or would you use something like this to plot? Obviously, you will use something like this. It will really enhance the value of your visualization. Yeah. Okay. So before we can work with the map data, we have to prepare our data. So let's go to the map worksheet. Okay. I'll explain what this screenshot is about. Okay. Before we can work with the map data, we have to first prepare the data. And sometimes preparing the data is not necessary because you have everything in place. Yeah, all the spellings, everything is correct. So you may not have to do that. But there are a lot of times you may have typos. And when you have typos, then you may get something like this when you try to create a map chart. Map charts work best with geographical data, such as state, province, blah, blah, blah. In that case, you have to go back and check your data. Obviously, there's no location anywhere on the earth where you have cities like this. So if you right click on this, to create a map chart, you have to click on Insert, and you have this map option in the charts section. If you click on this, you'll get this option. The moment you click on this, see how it's saying map charts work best with geographical data, blah, blah, blah. And this is the reason why you have to ensure your data is correct. Okay. Select the data and you click on Insert, and then you click on map chart. But before you do that, I recommend an extra step. What you have to do is select the data. Okay, let's say I'm going to change the spelling of Punjab and I'll make it Punjab. Okay, I've done this, right? And what I will do is now select the data, go to the data tab, and in the data types, there's something called geography. Click on that. So look at the, okay, let me zoom in. This is Punjab. Select the data, click on geography, see what happens. Excel automatically corrected that and it inserted a card. So if you click on that card, you will see it gives you details about Punjab, the capital, what country is it in, what's the population, etc., etc. It's a card. By this, you know your data is correct. Now let me make this small and move it on the side. We don't need this right now. Now my data is ready. So how can I draw a map chart? Select the data, go to Insert, click on the map, and click this. And your map chart is now ready. The formatting is very simple, guys. So if you right-click on this, add data labels, that's how you can add data label. Yeah, you can right-click on it, format data series. Again, this will pop up. Okay, so there are a few things that I want to explain. When you right-click on that and when you get format data series, there are these sections which you can see here. The first section is the map projection. So map projection, you can use this to change the cartographic projection of the map. The term is called cartographic. These available projections are Mercator, Automatic, Miller, and Albers. This is nothing but the way you want to display the map. So if you click on, by default, Excel selects automatic. If you select Mercator, see how it looks like, slightly tilted. If you select Miller, it looks different. If you select Albers, it looks slightly different. So I hardly use this. I keep it as automatic, so it uses the default option. The second thing is map area. The map area, okay, there are these options. You can select, let's say, only regions with data. When you do that, what happens? The rest of the states disappear and your chart only displays the states which have data. That's what this map area is about. If you want country region, then everything will be shown. Multiple countries and region, then the other countries are shown. When you're going to choose world, then it will show you with the world. But obviously, since we are concentrating on the values of sales in a particular state, I would never go for world or for countries. I would go for automatic, where it gives me, or rather country and region, where I will see the India map and then I will see the state values. Okay, the map labels. Now this is one limitation of the map chart. You can't move the labels outside. So either you choose none, or you choose best fit only, or you choose show all. Yeah, and the font, if you look at this, if you click on format data label, okay, just if you put category name, value, you can't move it, right click on it and say show above or show below or show in the center. So this is one, unfortunately, the drawback. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this. I'm going to recreate this for a moment. You can also add data labels by clicking on the format, chart design, and clicking on add chart element, data labels, and show. This is another way of doing it, guys. You can format the chart by clicking on the different chart style, and you can make it look beautiful. You can play around with this. You can remove the borders. Okay, let me go back. I want to share something else. There's something which is called series color. You have two options. One is sequential 2 color and diverging 3 colors. Okay, I'm going to make this slightly bigger. Lowest value, I have set it as light blue and the maximum value as dark blue. If I select a 3 color, I can actually select the lowest value color, middle value color, and the highest value color. So if you have a lot of variations, then it is better if you choose diverging 3 color. It'll show you a lot of different colors. And you can see the legend here as well. The legend has something which is called show the legend without overlapping the chart. If you uncheck this, it will overlap. And sometimes what happens is, if the legend is not properly placed, it comes over the states. So I always click on this and I ensure that the legend does not overlap the charts. So if you saw the PowerPoint presentation that I showed you how to create a chart. The last thing that I want to share with you is the 3D chart. I hardly use 3D charts, guys. I definitely do not recommend 3D charts. So let's say, okay, before I do that, I'm going to quickly show you how to create the same thing for the countries. So first, select the data, go to data tab, geography. Once you get this symbol, that means your data is fine. Okay, it's okay. So now select this, click on the insert tab, click on the map, and you get the world chart. Again, follow the same process, add data labels. This is very simple. I use this so I can remove the background colors so that it looks very nice. So anyways, the thing that I want to show you is the 3D charts. Go to insert 3D map. I hardly use it, but I'm going to show it to you. So there are different kind of tools that you want to create. The first one is for the first table. The second one is for the second one. If you don't see this, you'll have to click on new tool and it'll ask you which table to use. Okay, so if I, let's say, select the second table, the world tour, I get something like this. Okay, I can choose a flat map. If I don't choose a flat map, it will convert to a globe. The best part about this is you can zoom in and you can see, interact with it. See how it's going in. And why is it showing a circle? It's actually not a circle, it's a bubble, because I've chosen a bubble chart. If you want to use a bar chart, column chart, you can actually use a column chart. See how it looks like. I hardly use it, even though it looks nice, but for statistics and data visualization, this is the worst chart that you can use. This can only confuse the user, and the interpretation of values from this becomes very difficult. Even if you use a flat map, right, and if you zoom out, it still doesn't make sense unless you're actually using a bubble. Yeah, and you don't actually, why would you even use it? Because you don't want people to zoom in, right? So I've explained it to you that this is there. There are different options that you can choose from here and work with it and experiment. But I hardly see you ever using it. I don't use it, honestly. Okay, let's close this. So these are the charts that we covered. There are 4 charts. One moment. There are 4 charts which we'll cover in the next session. That would be the last session. So in today's session, we covered waterfall chart, the funnel chart, the combo chart, the map chart. Okay, I'm going to select this. Okay, guys, I'm not creating. Okay, let me create it. I don't know if I save the file, will you be able to see it or not? I doubt it if you don't have Office 365 subscription. I'm going to still save it. Okay, so this was today's session, guys. Let's go ahead and let's see your questions.